passion inside. Heaven knows I'm living my dreams. As I look upon my life, there's a passion inside. Heaven knows I'm living my dreams.
Good morning, and welcome to another Thursday with Talk with Joan. But your host is Evangelique Adams, and you are at the GAB Fest. And today we are GAB Festing with the originals.
Yeah.
Jess is back.
With Anka and Jess, and me and Anka is so happy to have Jess back with us in studio today.
Yep.
Guys, I have to say, GAB Fest FOMO is real. It's a thing. When you are not here, you miss the girls. So I'm excited for today.
And we are very excited to have you.
Yay!
We really are. We had good speakers. We really did. But we're happy that you are back and we can see you here and
Oh, thanks,
have a good time.
guys. But how have the shows been?
They've been great. The two speakers we've had in the past two shows, they really did well in their own, like each one to their own. Each one has their own personality. So we're really excited. They really did well.
And that's what the GAB Fest is about, your own personal opinion.
Yes.
So it's nice to see the different opinions from different people as well. So we're going to jump right into it.
Jump right in.
Whoop whoop.
We're going to start. Okay, so I know I sent you guys the breakdown, but let's start from the bottom of the breakdown for today. We're just going to start it from the bottom,
Now
we're
we're
here.
here.
and then we're there.
Turn it upside down.
Yeah, so we'll have an upside down show today. So it's still the exact same outline, but we're just going to start from the bottom. Okay.
I'm down.
So if our producer heard that, if with our slides, yes, thanks, she's on point, Lee is on point. Okay, so first topic, right? I thought this was really funny. I was Googling, at this age, I'm very insecure about my hairstyle right now, right? I'm used to long
Not
hair.
sure why, though.
And
I'm also not sure why.
it's not the same, man. If I take a photo, I'm used to the holding there. Now you don't know what to do with your hands. You're like, and then your nails. Oh, and I did a DIY project yesterday, so my nails is black. But anyways, I was Googling things like what makes you look older, because I feel like with the short hair, I look much older. And then I came across this one story, and I thought, I'm jumping into the story, and it said, do not wear these things. And then when I clicked on the picture, it said, please stop wearing these 3 things at any age.
Now, I've got to hear this.
Keep in mind, right? I'm thinking, don't wear a plaid t-shirt.
Yeah.
Don't dye your hair gray, those kind of things. But this was the 3 things. Number 1, let me just open up here quickly because I know my notes is a bit too, I noted it down a bit too short, so it's not going to be the exact number. So let me just go into it. Okay, so the first thing was, stop wearing the guilt of your past. And I was like, okay, this now sounds interesting because this has nothing to do with clothing. But at the same time, as women, we shouldn't be wearing these things. So let me say the 3 things, and then you guys put your 50 cents in, okay? So the
it's a
first
2
one,
rand.
a 2 rand. Give her 50 rand, it's fine.
Guys, inflation is real.
It's real.
So number 1 was stop wearing the guilt of your past.
Yeah.
Number 2 was stop wearing the pressure to prove yourself. And then number 3 was stop wearing the weight of other people's expectations and their judgments.
That's a heavy one, though.
Ooh, number 3. Jess Central. That has been a struggle, I think, my entire life.
Are you wearing that? You need to take it off.
Yeah, I think it's something, and I think with each decade of life, I shed a bit, but with every decade of life comes new expectations as well. So I think that's something. How do you stop wearing
Those things.
those things with the different levels that come with life, I guess, And I think for me, because I'm a pastor's daughter, it's just amplified in my life 100 times. And and it's something that I think, and I hope that with time it gets easier, but it's not easy, you know, I have to say this, I admire people who just shed it. You know, I struggle to shed that. It's something that, but like I said, with every decade of life, you learn, okay, to let go of things frozen, you know?
Yeah, to let it go.
You guys have been singing Let It Go.
Because there's so many things to let go. Like, there's really a lot of things for me.
What you wearing, Anka?
It's like,
Not your orange
not your
two-piece.
Like, for a second, I was going to shop closet. But for me, the last one also, I struggled with that coming in. So for you who know me, I come from a small place. So, and then I stepped into a very big place, and there was a mantle, there was an expectation. Xavier is a pastor, and then obviously with that comes expectation, and there's shoes to fill and all of that. A lot of that, Ma helped me with a lot of that, and just be you kind of thing. And I think the walks of life have also taught me that it doesn't help that I look at other people's expectations, because other people's expectations isn't going to help me navigate my next stage of life. Other people's expectations isn't going to help me at home dealing with the stress of what my kids are doing now, trying to handle my household, trying to handle my marriage, trying to live my life. Their expectations is just going to put more stress on that, and then you're not going to live. You're not going to move forward. You're just going to, what are people going to think? What I must do this next because this is what is expected of me. And you're not going to enjoy life. And I think a lot of that, Xavier's also helped me with a lot of that, because it's like, just be you and take everything at your pace. You know what your threshold is. You also know if you haven't done your best or whether you are doing your best. So you need to take it at a pace that's best for you, and know that there's a lot of elements to your life. There's boxes, there's family, there's immediate family, there's children, there's a husband, there's a career, there's your dreams and your passions, and you need to learn to balance that. How are you going to balance that with other people's expectations? You're just going to focus on one thing.
For me, I would also say, for me personally, all three. I've been wearing all three. I've been wearing the guilt of my past in terms of, you look at what you studied and you see what makes money, and you start thinking to yourself, should I have rather gone with the gravy train and go into law, accounting, business, those kind of things? You start questioning, is the creative world really that interesting, those kind of things? Because everything I've ever studied was always in the creative
sphere.
Yes. And then you start questioning, as much as you studied it and you know what you're doing, when you try to make an income from it, there's so many people that go onto YouTube and Pinterest. They don't need my expertise. You know, studying interior design, people are DIYing their own things now.
You know what I
don't
mean?
need to pay me to come and do a consultation fee. You don't need to pay me to actually do the stuff, those kind of things. So for me personally, that always plays on my mind. I'm like, is this the life I chose based on my past experience being, what did you study? And then with the second point, the pressure to prove yourself, it's the same thing. I constantly feel, but it is stuff that I'm working on, and I have worked on it, but like everything, it has those dips that we were speaking about, where one minute you think you're okay, and the next minute you're like, am I here again? How did I get out of it last time, and how am I going to do it now again? When you think to yourself, you need to prove who I am to be the certain person. You were saying you were pastor's daughter. I mean, certainly in church as well, there's those days where you need to live a certain lifestyle in order for people to accept you, and now you have to prove to yourself that you are this and that and that. And for me, I come from Xavier and Anka. People think I'm Anka all the time, and they're like, this is Rev's daughter, and they're like, oh, are you Anka? And then you get to this point where you have to prove yourself, that you have your own identity as well, and don't mix me up with other people, and don't, when you do introduce me even as a friend and say, this is my pastor's daughter, since when am I thought we're friends, identity? Do we not eat and go out every time? How am I your pastor's daughter? Those kind of things. And then obviously with the pressure of others, to some extent though, I use it as a push.
Like a catapult.
When I take that judgment and that expectation that you think that I'm capable, so let me prove you right, kind of a thing. So to some extent, I always find like, it puts you down in for like a split second, but then you're like, but I'll show you I can actually do it.
Yeah, yeah.
For me, that expectation just kind of, it sort of switches me off, because I'm like, literally everything that I do in my life has got no relation to what other people expect or think of me, right? So if I know this is what I need, this is why I'm taking this move, because it's A, B, and C in my life. It does this, it elevates me in this area, or it's going to push me to this area. That's why I make a decision and do whatever I do. So it's never looking in the next one, oh, I'm going to show you whatever. So that's literally an off switch button for me. If someone, but aren't you supposed to be? No, I'm not supposed to be doing anything.
I agree with what you're saying, but in terms of like, I need motivation with my things. I feel like having a household and things, there's so many things that constantly push you and you lose who you are. But then there's days when you're like, okay, I know that is what I wanted to do, but I heard you stealing my idea because I already told you my idea, but it just helps you make the move faster to where, if that makes sense, I don't know.
I think the only thing that gets me through the issue of expectation, I guess for me, is whenever I bring myself back to understand what is the purpose of something. I think purpose for me is just it's a guiding light, it's a exposing light, it's a shedding light. It helps me in that regard. But I guess what this thing is just helping us realize is that as women, sometimes we're subconsciously carrying
all these things,
and we don't realize it, that we're wearing it with our beautiful outfit. You know, I have to share the story. I cannot speak Zulu to save my life. It is highly embarrassing because my maiden surname is Zulu. It's embarrassing because my current surname is Zulu. So
the expectation to speak it is there,
right? And we were at a funeral in Klerksdorp with my husband's family, and I was meeting some of his other family for the first time, and one of the aunts starts hoying in Zulu, and I could not answer. You know, for the rest of the afternoon, I felt like I had failed. I felt like there was just this voice in my head like, Jess, you have failed. You're not a makoti, like, you know. And then I heard something inside of me just say, but you can't carry shame with you wherever you go.
Yes.
And all I thought was that I failed. And then yesterday, my husband said to me on the couch, you know, Maleti and Maribeka said that you're actually you've got a very friendly smile, and that they really enjoyed talking to you, even in the fragments that we spoke. And I realized that, but the way I made it in my mind versus what it actually was.
They're not gonna like me because
oh my word, you have failed as a makoti. You know, so I think maybe as women we just amplify this stuff in our minds, and I really like this thing. I'm gonna stop wearing that judgment expectation.
But just for interest's sake, can you understand it though?
I can understand words.
Okay.
Right? So the words, and if we're in a context, I'll understand what you guys are talking about. But when I must speak, it's almost like I'm afraid to let the language come out. So guys, this is my pet project. In 2025, you've got to ask me, Jess, how's your Zulu? Remember.
I've tried. I gave up. I can't even pronounce Ashley's other name, so I just leave it there. I'm like, babe, what did you say now again? I can't remember anything. From school, I remember Sawubona, Yebo Sawubona, Unjani, finished. I don't even know how to answer Unjani.
Shame, I'm just at the bottom of the food chain. Just going.
We will get there.
But I totally understand what you're saying, because Ashley went to his dad's family the other day, and when he came back, he's like, babe, you would have been lost. But next time you come, you need to at least pick up a few words or something. I'm like, you can at least hear what they're saying. I'm just like, hi.
I just want to let you guys know there's an app for everything. Download the app on your phone and have it translated for you.
We're going to sort out this problem with an app. And you know what you just said now also highlights something like that. Voice in your head gets so loud, your shoulders start shrugging, you start to feel like you failed. And sometimes there's a solution, a simple solution to a problem you think you can't solve. So I'm going to get that app.
Get the app.
I hope there's an app for all the other things we shouldn't be wearing.
I just can't remember anything. So even if I get the app, I'll be repeating 10 times now. And then 5 seconds later, I'm like,
language was never my thing. Let's just stick to what we know.
It's not mine either. Okay.
Got interpreters for that. Let's go.
What are you saying? Okay. Okay, moving on to the next topic. So I thought this was really funny, right? So, excuse the pun because it is still funny doing it again. I thought this was really funny, right? So this was trending on everybody was reposting it on E-News, but mostly as a meme.
Yeah.
And they were saying Dolly Parton has been married for 54 years and I've never seen her husband not one time. Laughing face goals.
I do not know Dolly Parton's husband.
I don't think anybody knows.
I've never seen her with her husband on a red carpet. But also, her generation's a bit, it's our parents' group.
Isn't he older than our parents?
Even older than our parents. Like,
Oh, is she?
She's been around.
There.
She's been around for quite a while, and I mean, they grew up in a time when none of social media was a thing. But there's been paparazzi a long time. I'm just
There
saying.
has been, but that's what I was
True.
saying. I know her songs, but I never put a face to
it.
the words until Hannah Montana, because she's the
We'll give
auntie
you grace.
Nanny Montana.
and Miley
So-
Cyrus adores Dolly Parton.
She does.
Adores her.
So we'll give you guys grace.
I
for
almost
knowing her
started
from-
singing
from the-
Adore, but we live. I don't want you to hear my voice.
But she's kept a marriage going for 54 years, and it's not
Sheesh.
been splashed out. But this for me is a double-sided topic. But we'll give Jess the opportunity to go first.
So I'm one of those people. There are times where I feel free with expressing my life, what I'm doing, what I'm eating, where I'm going, whatever, who I'm with, and then there are times where I go into my bubble and I just want to protect. So in Dolly Parton's life, my only question would be, is it an agreement that they had between the two of them that maybe, okay, you're going to do all of the public stuff, I'm just going to be in the background. And I think
wait, sorry, I wanted to ask, does she have social media?
that is a very good question. I'm
Because
going to look so long.
If she doesn't, I would understand why we haven't seen him. But does she take him to red carpet events?
But that's the thing. Like, there's always a paparazzi or someone taking a picture somewhere. I'm sure they should have snapped them together somewhere on a holiday or,
Okay, so his name is Carl Thomas Dean. And yeah, online there are actually...
Are there pictures of them together? Or is it him?
Yes.
So it's really just a matter of we haven't searched it.
I guess it's just a matter of... But has anyone ever been interested in Dolly Parton's life to the extent where we want to know
Who you married to?
who she's married to? But it's just a very interesting question. I'm going to check now if she has social media. I'm going to check if she has...
But for me personally, posting your partner or the person you're with on social media, for me, it's always funny because me and Xavier have these conversations and you're like, what is the person posting and what are they not posting? So if you're posting too much, we're like, yo, they're trying to make up for something now, ne? And if they're not posting it, these two are fighting again. So it's like, you give away a lot of the stuff. So for me personally, it's about consistency, right? I think it's important that even if you're going through something, if you're not going through something, it must just be consistent. I wouldn't delete things because then this will give the people, Xavier and Anka are fighting again, or are fighting rather. Or what's happening now? Are they standing on divorce? What's going on? So I think it's important and a lot of people are so, who shall I say? They're so free with what they post. Like if they have an emotion now, they just post it. Like if they fight now, then they post the quote or they post
Like Chrissy Teigen.
like-
she has no filter
at
whatsoever.
all.
I don't
At
follow
all.
her, eh?
None.
I don't follow her, but strangely enough, on my feed, on some of my stuff, her stuff comes up, or people commenting or forwarding her stuff, and it's like, really? She got into trouble a couple of times for just
Yeah.
Blurting it
double
out.
diarrhea.
So with you, Jess, how's you newly married now?
Yes.
And-
very fresh.
Do you
fresh.
post online? What's your take about a couple posting each other?
I always laugh when Togozani and I talk about this because Togozani is my husband's name. So when I post about myself, right? Okay, people will like whatever. But if I post something of me and Togozani, it feels like my social media broke. Like everyone will DM, ask questions. Oh my word, you guys are so cute, And there was a time where I felt I have these moments, and I'm the kind of person who I honor my moments. If I'm having a moment where I feel like I want to protect us a little bit, then I'm going to ward off posting. I'd rather we be what we are right now. We don't have to keep posting. But then when I have a moment where I feel like, hey man, I want to post, I want to show, I want to whatever, then I'll do so. So I think it's weird because there's a demand from people to see my life with my partner.
Yeah.
But there are times where I feel like, but it's my relationship, and I will post when I feel like doing it. And when I don't feel like doing it, sorry, commercial break, we will be back,
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not even that we were fighting or anything. It's just that
taking a break.
just taking a break. I don't know how you feel about it.
For me personally, I take it as if you are posting everything, post me as well. And if I'm posting everything, post your partner as well. So for me, I'd say like, I catch feelings if you post every day and you're not posting me. And I'm like,
There is an element for us as women.
So
we
if
want
you-
to
I
be-
catch feelings in my. I always do this joke. Okay, a house story. You know that when you said you can't say that outside of the house. I'm not supposed to say this out of the house, but I'm the kind of person that I make a joke if you don't post me for a while, and I say, don't you want anybody to see me? Do you want to look like you're a single dad? Kind of.
Booty shade.
But it's still in a jokey way because my husband doesn't post a lot. And when he does post, it's these random comedy things that he posts. It's not his like everyday life, oh, I'm eating now, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. And many of the times when he was strong in photography, he used to post the models all the time.
Yeah.
So I had to sit him down and say, babe, it feels like you don't want people to know that we're married, kind of a thing. And he's like, why? Everybody knows we're married. But in my head, I'm just like, I need to. We were speaking about Slayers earlier before the show, and it has nothing to do with today's topic. And we were saying how many of our friends have actually got involved with married men. So I'm thinking, like, as a married man, don't give these people the opportunity because once they see the gap, they are
they pursue.
they are within. So if you make it look like, do you know what I'm trying to say? I'm not trying to change the subject to say just post your wife to show that, leave the people away. But
I
I'm
get
just
you.
saying
Yeah,
that
I do
those are the
understand.
kind of things that my mind goes to when you.
I think it's important. Like I always say, that in everything in life there needs to be balance. And when it comes to these type of things, some people are private people, some people are not. Some people are out there, and usually, as we have it, that usually two opposites attract. So you have one that's because I used to get so upset with Xavier because we'll be having a moment or something would have happened, and then I'd have a friend call me, oh, I saw you guys. I'm like, where did you see? Then before we even had a chance, Xavier had posted it on social media. He used to be that really on, especially when we were doing the vlogging, and he was really keeping it up. And I was like, really, give me a chance to digest the moment, or give me a chance to also post something.
Don't lie. You didn't like the angle. I'm joking.
And some of the times, yes, I didn't
That's
like
the real issue.
That's the real issue. You
I
didn't
won't
get to
lie.
choose
There
which
is
one.
an element of that because Xavier, I'll be looking like this, and then Xavier will post like, no, just enjoy the moment. I'm like, you didn't even take the moment. So, but what I'm trying to say is that there needs to be balance. There needs to be that part where and speak to each other and say, look, I don't like it when we post now. Let's keep it away for now. But communicate with each other with understanding. So that you say, but baby, this is how it makes me feel. I feel that you do appreciate me and that you allow other people to see me. Then there's like open communication, but the way it's also being said, because we know that with men, it's the way you say it. It's not what you say. It's the way you say it. So that's what I'm saying. Communicate with understanding, and if there is reasoning, then listen to that reasoning, So there's always balance to these things, but I also want to see myself now and then there.
It's nice to see yourself every now and then.
I totally get it, and it's just funny that sometimes I'm so deep in my trying to protect my relationship now and then that I forget, maybe there might be something where my partner will be like, oh, I thought you posted about us, or I thought you so it is something that's important to talk to your partner about. But I think I've just had to realize now that sometimes in my wanting to protect something, I miss the moment to celebrate it. And I think that's just a balance I'm trying to learn. But man, social media, I think my thing at the back of my head is always, I don't know with what intentions people are looking at my life. But I think I should not allow that to then stop me from being able to just
Enjoying
celebrate
it.
and enjoy the moment and what I have.
Also, for me, I like to look at it. You, like you said, you don't know with which intentions, but you don't know who's looking at your life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So-
from a positive perspective.
That's
so
true.
yeah, you don't know who's looking at your life. So a lot of the times it's not about putting it all out there, whatever, but it's
Yeah.
to let people know, you know what, we can do this. We are the younger generation, because
Yeah.
our generation is just seen as, you know, if you made it, if you will only make it maybe past 5 years, maybe past 7, and then it's just done. You've run its course.
People don't even make it that far anymore.
People don't make it that far anymore. But if you keep that, we've got a healthy relationship. And guys, yes, people fight. Relationships are not always easy. They're not always. It's normal.
Yeah.
But to keep that positive side going,
Yeah.
I'm not saying sell something that isn't a big fairy tale. But what I'm saying
But
is
be
that
honest and open.
be honest
Yeah.
and open of the healthy parts of your relationship, because I think people do look at that and they do take some inspiration from that, and they do take a lead from that. So
Yeah, I'd add on to that and say there's so much on social media where people post about their divorces.
Yeah.
There's so much on social media when people post about their fights. It is nice to see when people are actually happy together and in love. And anybody that is in love, even in dating, you fight.
yeah.
Yeah.
So don't expect it gets 10 times worse in marriage,
Guys.
but you understand each other. But let's just be proud of each other the same way you would proudly post your friends. But if you are a secretive person, I obviously don't expect you, if you don't even post your own face, to post your husband. But if you do that, let's just go both ways.
It must be balanced.
Note taken.
No, taken. Okay. So we're gonna jump first to the petrol, if possible.
Yeah.
Jess,
do that.
will you lead us?
I will lead you to the land of expensive things. I did speak about this earlier, about, you know, just a moment where I was at the till this week. Man, and I think I had 4 items. And as they're checking them off, I'm looking at this thing going up, and the lady looks at me and she's like, "Sissy, is there something wrong?" I'm like, no, there's nothing wrong. But I just could not believe that 4 things could cost that much.
Yeah.
And when I saw this on Business Insider about the fact that the increase in the petrol price is obviously going to have a knock-on effect on everything else, and Christmas is coming, it really made me think about how hard it is to be, guys, I don't have kids. I know for you guys it's how hard it is to be a mother. I'm like, how hard it is to be an adult. I'm not gonna lie, adulting is getting to a point where it's like, yo, man,
I want to unsubscribe.
I want to unsubscribe. Where do I unfollow? Where do I unfollow? Like,
Terminate my subscription right now, please.
they asked us, what do you want to be when you grow up? And right now, my answer is just financially solvent. I don't even need big dreams right now. But I remember
I don't
you
even
guys,
want to be stable.
at this point, I remember in a previous conversation talking to you guys where you mentioned that, what about people who are not working? I don't know what our government or the people who are leading this country expect us to do with that. I don't know what they expect us to do with that. Where are we supposed to go with 20 rand a litre? Must we go next door? Must we go?
You know what?
5
You must
minutes
just
away?
park. Put the petrol in, just park. Why
Does
not?
the taxi, do you perhaps know if the taxi fee went up?
They said, they were speaking about it on the radio, and they said that initially the taxi association was saying that they're not going to go up, but with the next hike, because there's another hike planned.
Yeah.
With that hike, they're forced to actually go up with the prices of the taxis. But for me, they were talking about it over the radio the other day, and they were saying that of that 19 rand 50 is 6 rand tax. So we're really just feeding our government out here. You know, we're working, because when you get your salary, you pay tax, and then you must still pay tax to get to work with that petrol that you've just worked hard for. And why are we paying 6 rand in taxes? There are billions and billions of rands that are going missing. No one is held accountable for. People are hungry out there. There's no roads, there's no proper hospitals, there's no proper schools, but we're paying. What are we paying? What are we paying?
And I think, sorry, this is also so unfair
true.
in terms of the government pushing COVID down our throats, because everything is closing due to COVID, and the people that were making at least a 3,000 rand all of a sudden don't have a job tomorrow.
Yeah.
How does the government expect our people to continue to live a standard? I just think about people who do have newborn babies where you can't hand me down a nappy, you can't hand me down milk. And when you look at the price of milk, I mean, when I had Scarlett, the big tin with S26 was 200 and something. When I got to Isaiah, it was 300 and something. Now the other day when I walked, it's 400 and something.
What?
So
And they need two
if you
two and
take
a
the
half.
big tins, you need one every second week.
Yeah.
So I just want to know what
That's
is.
excluding sterilizers, bottles, nappies.
And then they
creams.
say I understand there is a market for everybody, but we all want the best for our kids. Are you telling me if I can't afford that 300 rand milk or Huggies and Pampers, you're forcing me to buy no name, which is obviously easier to diaper rash and all those things, because those with the no name,
But they're still expensive.
hard.
But yeah, but I'll never forget this. Me and Xavier, we were hustling it through with Ava, our first child, and really times were tough. Times were really tough, and we were standing in Jet stores and we were like trying to just lay by a few things for them. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just take this and try and get through the month with it. There's a lot of nappies. Look, yeah, it's 200 rand for like a lot of nappies. We got home, it was pure plastic, pure plastic. We couldn't use it. We couldn't do anything because you're like, yo, this is just gonna cut my child. Give my child paper cut or something, you know. We couldn't use it, so
But that's my thing. So are you telling me that it's the same thing? It's like our government is wanting the rich to get richer, and the poor is literally what is happening to them. There is no sense of compassion for our people.
And sorry to jump in there, Vange. It feels like people are having a different experience of this pandemic.
Yeah.
There are people who are like, oh my word, I have to stay at home. Oh, I have to Netflix. Oh, I have to. Other people are like, oh, I need to find a job. Oh, I need to get myself to a point where I can afford my life. And I don't understand how you get ministers and people in government who have used this pandemic for their own benefit.
And self-gain.
Then there's no money to use for the things that should be alleviating the people from this from this pandemic. So I feel really let down. I feel let down. I feel like, why can't, just for this pandemic period, why can't certain things be subsidized? Why can't a certain portion of the petrol price be subsidized to cushion the people? Because right now, at this rate, I'm really concerned.
And you know what? And I know we're not speaking about that here today, but this is the cause for anxiety. This is the cause for all these things. I mean, in Capitec, we had the story of the lady, you know, getting undressed, and so you asking, what drives this woman? What drives this woman to that kind of thing? And that's not the first incident in Capitec. But what I'm trying to say is that people are driven to this point of anxiety, of desperation, of not knowing what to do, that they just have a different way of letting it out. And it stems from that, from the pressures of having to pay for something. I mean, I was saying earlier that you know, when me and Xavier go shopping, it's a stressful time because you want to be your child's hero. You want to make things happen, and you know that you just want to feed your child, but you want your child to be happy as well, you know. So I tell him, you know, before we pick up the kids, let's first go to the shop, get a few things so that I can control what I say no to, and I can control, okay, fine, we'll have one snack or two snacks just so that we can have proper food for the week to eat. And, you know, like you were saying just now, if I have trouble just trying to sort of like rationalize everything and put everything in like into the budget, and I'm struggling to do that, what about people who don't earn proper salaries? What about people who don't earn, who do live off of like someone having to give something like charity or whatever? And that's not always possible because...
And you've heard people is actually complaining that charity donations is getting less and less
Yes.
because people is holding on to the little that they have or handing me down to their own family members that there's nothing left to give to the actual charities.
Yeah, these are really, really, really tough times, and I'm an eternal optimist, and I'm really like internally hoping for a season where we won't see this. But until then, I think we just all have to tighten our belts, like on a serious note.
And come up with
Tighten that seatbelt while you are parking, you know?
going back to voting.
all I'm saying is maybe they should bring back the donkey car. Wheat is cheaper.
Maybe we should start using bicycles, 'cause
You know,
I
it's just
don't know.
cheaper.
Yeah. Okay. So based on that, Anka, do you want to explain
So
the hustle and the bustle of
yeah,
life?
so based on the fact that, everything's just so much more expensive and, cost of living is expensive and, we all want to live comfortably or we just really want to make ends meet like you were saying. You just want to...
The hunger is real, guys. The hunger is real.
So yeah, the side hustle though, is a side hustle worth it? For me, I run a side hustle. I'm excited about my side hustle, but it's not possible for everybody. And what are your thoughts about it? Because for me, sometimes I'm fortunate enough that I can run in my day and with my job, congruently with my job. So because there's just certain things that I need to keep in place. My kids are in the early development stage, and that for me is very important. I need to be part of that life. And then also my marriage is important to me. So I'm not willing to sort of have the one overlap with the other one. But also we're living in times when one income or two income streams is not enough to make ends meet, especially when you have kids, and especially, us as parents, we want the best schools for our kids.
Right.
And it costs money. It really costs money. So what are your thoughts on side hustles?
I'd say first of all, sorry Jess, I'd say first of all, it's sad with the fact that we actually have to have a side hustle, because even if your side hustle was your main job, you still need then your real job to be the side hustle. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I would say that, okay, Jess, go. I just wanted to add that 10 cents and then I'll say my part again.
No, it was a
'Cause
2
you're
rand.
eager.
It wasn't
I
a
see
10
you eager
cents.
and I stopped you in your words, so you can
No,
just go
no,
ahead
no.
quickly.
It's cool because I think I've just experienced a bit of a shift in my life where for many years I was a presenter, for many years I was a producer, and then what I was doing on the side was I was doing like voice work on the side for like different brands if they call me in or whatever. But it wasn't like, yo, this is my bread and butter,
Yeah.
But it's so funny because since October last year, so it's actually been a year. For the past year, my voice work has actually been my main source of income. And that was my side hustle. My side hustle kind of turned into my main, the side became the main. I think I'm fortunate in that sense to have been allowed to have been afforded that opportunity. But I think for me, I enjoy it because it's a passion side hustle.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about it and I really enjoy it.
It's nice when your side hustle is actually what you want to do.
Exactly. So I think it becomes a bit hectic if your side hustle is jeopardizing your energy for your main job, or if your side hustle is taking you away from your family or something like that. Then I think it's not worth it because...
Or if your side hustle is not even your passion, you're just doing it
I
to
think that
get
makes it
extra
worse.
money.
Yeah,
worse.
like then it's and I mean there's so many different kinds of side hustles. The one that I'm seeing marketed a lot right now is Forex. Everyone's talking about Forex and Bitcoin and all these things. The other one, which is for me, and maybe you guys can tell me which other side hustles and I'm sorry to admit this, but I always used to like side-eye people who'd come to me with an Avon catalog. Like, yes, products, please order. I tried one of their lipsticks the other day and they are so good. But anyway, I
It is actually
digress.
really good. Their foundation is really nice as well.
You
Their
know?
concealer. Yeah.
There's this
So
color
shout
that
out to
they
you
have.
guys selling
So we promise we were not paid to say that. But that was like the one of the side hustles that I saw a
But
lot
if
of
you
people.
want to, you can.
The other one was what's it, Herbalife? Yo, people come to me with like Herbalife and whatever.
I was hoping into getting into Herbalife. I signed up, but sadly went nowhere.
I did Herbalife for a while until I realized that you actually have to gym for Herbalife to work. It's not like the shake you drink and, woo, I'm skinny. You actually have to gym.
So I have seen people who with Herbalife, they were just doing it side. Suddenly it became a main. So if it contributes value to your life, if it means you have more time, you have more whatever, then fine. But if it robs from your life,
And
then
if
no.
you have the actual drive, because you're using the example Herbalife now. Herbalife, you'll notice people that's thriving in it is people that actually is like a gym influencer. So they actually influencing but then selling their product. But if your personality is not social media, and your personality is not going to the gym and taking a picture with your six pack and those kind of things,
That is just torture.
it's just, then your side hustle doesn't work.
It's not aligning.
It's not aligning for real. My issue is the new skin people.
What's that?
It's like
It's like
Avon.
but just very highly priced. I was
New
also
skin,
I signed up for that. Someone got me to sign up for that.
I mean, I
That didn't
have
go
so
anyway.
many people that I know that's in New Skin, but my DMs, there's people from India asking me, do I want to join their team? I'm like, okay, you don't even follow me. Let's start
But there are people, I know a couple of people that are really killing it in the new skin space of their side hustle. There's dynamics to all of those things, because a side hustle actually requires you to work. It's not just
It requires, but also with those kind of side hustles, even the Herbalife, it's the people that were there when it started.
Yes.
You can't expect to get the same
Yeah.
money, come in 10 years later and think you're going to be
So-
this
so the
money-making
person-
machine.
So who got me into it, she showed me like her, and she's making money. She showed me how she's getting her money, and I'm like, okay, so I don't have to sort of like sell the stuff to people. Like I just want to be a builder. And she's like, no,
Yes.
you first have to do this as a process. Like, but you can earn this. I'm like, okay, let me see. And then the first meeting, it's like, because I can get everyone involved. I like getting people involved, but don't ask me to beg you to
Especially
buy
at that
something.
price, because for me,
Yeah.
I know I'm not gonna pay.
People know that my pricing of my stuff that I sell in my side hustle is priced to what I would pay.
Okay.
So I like cheaper things.
You said it so nicely.
So, and that's how I think other people think as well.
Yeah.
So when I started with the new skin thing, I was like, ish, but this requires work. I must beg you and I must convince you that this toothpaste is for you. And that's not...
It must be something that you enjoy.
I don't like to beg for money.
Yeah, it's not something that I enjoy. So I was like, that didn't last. That lasted like about a week, and I even got mine to it. I shame, and then that didn't go anywhere because you need to speak to people. And the other thing is a lot of people think that you know a lot of people because of your platforms. You're not gonna go stand up on that platform and then advertise because that's
And the thing is the money. Who wants to pay? I know I jumped into that like with World Ventures. I was like, yo, we're going on holiday.
and we're not taking anything away from these companies because they are working and a lot of people are killing it in that business. I know quite a few people.
I wasted so much money
Bench is finished.
on World Ventures.
By the way, what happened to World Ventures? I know.
I have no idea.
They almost tried to convince me to get
Wasted
into it. I was
so
like,
much money.
because I'm a type of person that I think it
He is no
through.
longer here.
Even that carrot bars thing, someone also tried to get us into, and
I have
I'm
my carrot bars in the cupboard. I haven't even opened the box yet. I don't even know what my bar looks like.
you see. So for me on the side hustle tip, it's a thing of my side hustle is birthed out of the fact that I've always wanted to do this as a dream. It's a passion, and it's coming to fruition now. But it must. It must be something that you love doing.
Yes.
However, there's balance. Like I always say, there's balance.
There's balance.
Like you can't be out here trying to hustle and you're away from your family, you're away from your kids, you're away from living. But you're trying to make this money so that you can live and you can happy. But you're
never living.
You're never living and you're never happy.
Yeah.
You're trying to live this life. I mean, as a couple, me and Xavier, we had aspirations. We're like, how are these people doing this? They're going on holiday. You're just seeing the pictures. Their kids are always prim and proper. They're always in good schools and whatnot. And then you realize these people have been in the game for quite a while. First of all, so they've been working at it. And then secondly, they're taking it at their pace. So now you're trying to hustle it out here and trying to get rich quickly and trying to get into some scheme or trying to hustle it out. And it's not really what you want to do. It's not your passion. It just does more damage in the long run. So as far as I'm an advocate for a side hustle, but make sure that there's balance when you do it.
Yeah.
And make sure that it makes sense for you and your partner or your family.
Yeah,
that
the communication. For me, I think like when you know it is your passion. I'm not speaking about a side hustle just to make extra money. I mean a passion, like this is what I want to do. Then I'd believe like have your passion, look at all the pros and the cons, see how do I get to the point where I'm starting to make a proper income, and not because many times when you start up a side hustle you're losing money more than anything else. But take it and see how long am I willing to sacrifice. And then communicate that with everybody around you. We're sacrificing this time, from this time to this time. I am sitting on my computer for 30 hours.
Wow.
And then
No life there.
no, but you know what I'm trying to say, like,
Yeah, yeah.
But babe, this will only last for 1 month, and then from there everything will be back to normal. I just needed to kick off, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But stick in that time frame, so that 3 months down the line you're not in the exact same point you were in the beginning. And that would be my extra 10 cents of advice.
Right. We have the 2 rands.
You have the
two rands have been thrown.
how much do we have now? How much money do we have?
Guys,
This is a side hustle. This is a side hustle.
Inflation.
Every 2
I
rand.
can't work with 2 rand. Side hustles are hard. I can't.
Okay. Jess, would you like to read our next article that will take us to our topic?
I would. So, Miss SA under fire by a Palestine Solidarity Alliance for taking part in the Miss Universe pageant in Israel. So hectic. All right. So, we all know that there's this very historic, very bitter conflict between Israel and Palestine.
Yeah.
It is not only political, it is religious. It is not only religious, it is just, if you ask anyone, where did it begin? You know, everyone will give you a different version of the story.
Yeah.
But it is very,
And there's lots of versions, eh?
it's highly politicized. And it's so funny because it's such a small portion of the world where this conflict happens, but it affects so much of our international politics. Anyway, here you get Miss Lalela Mswane. I mean, she just won Miss South Africa. And she is supposed to go and compete now in Miss Universe, as with every other Miss South Africa. I find this issue a bit tricky for me because in this article, they speak about how Mzansi was on fire. You know, they really, there was a serious backlash at her because when the Palestine Solidarity Alliance contacted her to say, can we please engage you on this issue and we'd really like you to please boycott Miss Universe this year, she was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then she blocked them.
Yeah, maybe that was the problem. I think that was where the issue started.
And then she blocked them. But it's pretty obvious that she did that because perhaps for her, it was starting to feel a bit antagonizing.
Yeah.
I think that there's a way to, and I will admit that I need to have a thorough understanding of how they did it, but just the way that they came out afterwards vilifying her for not hearing their agenda was really strong.
Yeah.
So South African Twitter is now reacting, and the Miss South Africa board then came and said, listen, we are not going to politicize this issue. We are going to support Miss South Africa to go to Miss Universe in Israel. Now, someone asked, if she's representing the country, should she not be representing the foreign policy of South Africa, which, as it presently stands, is in favor of Palestine? You also had Nelson Mandela's grandson, I've forgotten his name.
Mandela.
Thanks, man.
You got it.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, he came out and said that all the African Miss whoever's, all of them, they must all boycott this event. And there was another winner of another pageant in another country, and she said, but who are you to tell these these women who've been waiting their whole lives for this moment what they can and cannot do? I feel this way. I feel that Miss South Africa being in Israel gives her a platform to highlight the issues that's happening between the two countries. I feel that way. She can highlight the different human rights abuses and the abuses on women and children in this conflict. But Mzansi, which country do you live in? Do you live in this angelic country where women can walk the streets free at night?
Or kids.
Do we live in a country that so much upholds the rights of children? We do on paper, but in reality, women and children in South Africa, it's a volatile space. We are abused, we are murdered, we are killed, we are raped, the children are using pit latrine toilets in these schools, and I'm saying, until South Africa does better by its own women and children, we have no leg to stand on to tell Miss South Africa that she can't go to Israel. I just don't.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I know I'm getting impassioned.
So I want to
but
just jump in there for why Jess is jumping on the women and children thing. So in our conversation before going online, I was explaining to Jess and Anka the other side of why people is against this. So that you understand why she's forcing this women and children thing. Because then you'll understand why she's so passionate about where's Mzansi's women and children. So what's happening is on social media, YouTube, everything, the different countries that is standing against it, who is for the boycott, some people, not the countries, the people themselves, individuals is standing with the boycott because they're saying that with this whole war, it is a war against women and children. And why is South Africa allowing Miss South Africa to take part in a country that is killing women and children? So just to give a background point, it's not my opinion, but it's through research, people are feeling this Israel is killing people, women and children, and a pageant is supposed to be a charity to uplift women and children, and now you're going to a country where they don't stand for this based on the war. And how does that make it okay? Because you're supposed to be a voice for women and kids, but you're standing with a country like that.
Yeah. And again, I'm going to say this again. Show me a country that has a perfect track record when it comes to women and children. I mean, we just watched, was it last year or the year before last? There in America, where when they were shutting down the borders between America and
Mexico.
I think it was Mexico, yeah. How many women and children suffered there, where children were literally locked up in cages?
Yeah, and apparently there's some children that still haven't found their parents.
No one has gone to say, we are boycotting American products, we are boycotting American events, we are boycotting. So my thing with the Palestine Solidarity Alliance, couldn't you more, instead of forcing and telling somebody what to do, say, can we engage you in a press conference about these issues? Can we engage you about these things and then allow you to make your own decision?
But then also, we don't actually know how the message was also sent across and what was the real response. You know, there's some people, sorry for the language, that will just be like, yeah, F you, and then block kind of a thing. I'm not saying she did that. I'm just saying that we don't know what is the real backstory. How did they ask her to partake in it? And what was her actual response? And then what did they say back for her to go as far as blocking?
For me personally, there's two big issues for me here. The first one is our South African people, how we are able to use social media and make noise for other countries. I'm not saying it's bad or it's wrong. I'm saying fine that, but what about our own social issues?
What about our issues?
What about, we've got 4 boys that have gone missing. They've been gone for maybe, I think, 22 days today, if I'm not mistaken. But it's about 3 weeks that they've been gone. But you don't really see the hype. You don't really see, people are not really going on about it.
People were just saying happy birthday to the little boy, and that's when everybody remembered again.
Yeah, and the other thing is that you were mentioning how many kids died at the Cape Flats in Cape Town of, drug-related shootings and stuff like that. So, and no one is making a noise. There's so many social ills here that no one here is making. But when Black Lives Matter was a thing, everyone was making a noise.
And remember when Black Lives Matter, that whole video of the policeman killing one of our own South African people outside some shop. And that didn't go viral.
Yeah. And he was from here, And you ask yourself, but really, how do we have such double standards? We have so many things going on here. The other thing that I wanted to highlight is that this woman dreamed her whole life of coming here. And so my question is, who makes that decision for her to go? Does the Miss South Africa board make the decision? Does she herself make the decision? And also, don't these people have PRs? I'm just asking for a friend. Do these people have PRs to handle the situation in that way? Maybe she was advised to just block or to not comment on it, to sort of not get involved because they don't want to politicize it. There's all these dynamics, but now it's barely a month that she's been crowned. And already she has to deal with this backlash. It's not even a month. It was the 16th October, and we're sitting on the
something
Yeah.
of November.
Somewhere here.
Then anyone will argue, but surely if you are applying for Miss South Africa, and I'm sure during the pageant they knew where Miss Universe was going to be held.
Yeah, because they was supposed to go 2019 already.
A part of me feels like it was the responsibility of the Miss South Africa group to educate every candidate about, look,
This is what's happening.
Israel is it's a hot button issue. It's a hot button international subject. I think they needed to prepare every contestant in that top 10 a little bit better for this. However, I come back to this again. Guys, do you know how many children are stabbed at school? How many children are bullied in South African schools? You know, then you'll get, what's his name? Panyaza Lisufi. He goes on the TV, he makes a noise. The education department, they make a noise, and then it dies down. To this day, it was, I think, within this week or last week, where two young people were stabbed at school. And I think it's gotten to a point where it feels normal.
Yeah. But sorry, can I just jump in there and say, I'm not saying any comment is wrong. I'm just adding another flame to the fire,
add
right?
the flames.
I'm throwing some oil now.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, with a pageant like this, you're going to represent a nation, right? Keeping in mind that there's of everybody. Then I ask the question, if you think about it that way, there is people in South Africa that is from Palestine, for example.
Yeah.
So this is not an individual going as, sorry, I can't pronounce her name.
Lalela.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not going there as Lalela. She's going there as a Miss South Africa. Do you think then it maybe changes the dynamic? Yes, it's gains. You enter the pageant for gains for yourself, but you go to represent the same way like our president. Yes, you're gaining your own income, sorry to use that, but you're there to stand for a nation, so everybody must be happy. Do you think does that opinion then change a little bit, because there is those kind of people in the background in South Africa, so you can't say I don't care about the politics, because now you're representing people.
I come back to my point again. Which South Africa is she representing? Is she representing that ideal one that had Desmond Tutu and the Rainbow Nation and the South Africa? No, we're not that South Africa anymore. We are a deeply broken society where, I come back to this thing again, we have so many social ills. We have a corrupt governing party. We, on a daily basis in South Africa, you just don't know what's going to come from what side. We're a broken country. And for me, our foreign policy is not reflective of the kind of country we have become. It's just this idea of what is the perfect South Africa, but that's not, unfortunately, that's not who we are. So if she is Miss South Africa, where she might have gone wrong was to block them. She is representing the country, but I am appealing to South Africans to say, take the speck out of your eye and take a look at which Mzansi we are living in.
So instead of making this big buai about a boycott,
this is a moment for us
ills.
to reflect. What kind of South Africa is she? Yes, she's going to go up there and represent the best of us, but you can't take away the worst that we unfortunately currently live in.
For me, I'd say I agree with both of yous, but having a lot of Muslim friends and knowing them through influencing and stuff, and this is actually what they stand for. They literally fight for their people constantly. Because remember we said in the beginning, this is a religious fight as well. And these people are South African, but their ancestors came from here. It does become a bit of a touch where you're like, I am South African and you're representing me in a country that is kind of thing. So I'm saying there's rights and there's wrongs. There is everything, but at the end of the day, this organization, for me, I'm not even speaking about Miss South Africa. I'm saying Miss Universe. Could they have not see the big bouah on social media? I mean, it's been going on just under a year. This whole thing about on social media, not the whole war, but social media being so deep in depth with it, that they could have said, okay, let's change the venue to a different country.
Then you're going to
that-
have it in Sweden. Because
No, but I mean in terms of, but in Sweden, it's not being hounded on social media. Do you get what I'm saying? We
Yes,
said
I
no
understand.
person is perfect. No
Yeah.
country
No
is perfect.
country is perfect.
But to put it in a place that's in the light at this moment
True.
with such a hard-hitting issue, I feel like all of this could have just been dismissed had Miss Universe taken time to say, I understand this is the preparation. We were supposed to do it there, but I don't know.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to say something now, and I know I'll be crucified. It's just that we live in a time where people find reason to find fault with literally everything. We can't encapsulate or live perfectly and encapsulate everyone's concerns in whatever we do in life. Like this woman, she aspired to be where she is now. She's making this, she's at a crossroads, and she's like, how? It's not my fault it's in Israel.
True.
And this is now my year. I decided to go. Now that it's my turn, now it must just be ruined. And yes, I do think of social ills and all of that, but maybe it can be addressed in a different way. On the other hand, what I'm going to say now, and please don't crucify me, is there is an element that they use this as a point of bringing it back into the light. Because Miss South Africa just happened. It's a pattern that is still fresh in people's minds. So to use her as a target now to sort of like bring the whole Palestine-Israel thing back into the social media limelight is a good tactic.
I would have
Yeah.
agreed with that to a certain point had it only been Miss South Africa, but there's already 5 other countries that did withdraw from the competition.
Okay.
So it's not just a in South Africa kind of a thing.
Yes.
So just to add on to that,
So
what
my
you were
comment
saying.
I feel
Okay.
that Miss South Africa gains a lot from understanding the issues of both sides of the conflict and going to participate and using the platform to highlight the human rights
Do you know what I think they could
injustices.
have done
Yeah.
instead of the blocking?
Yeah.
Say, I don't agree with this, but let's go out and do it publicly. Do a live. They love
Yes,
their
like a
lives.
press
They live
conference,
their
yeah.
outfits. But like with something like this, do a press conference and say,
Yes.
this is where we stand. We are compassionate towards the others, but this is a competition, this is a that. So I think the way they maybe dealt with it by the blocking part is what damaged
Is
it a
what
bit.
damaged
Just
it, yeah.
bearing in mind that we are not sure whether it was a PR manager or
Yeah.
whoever, or it
Yeah,
was
we
herself.
don't- yeah.
We're
Just the Miss South
speculating.
Africa as a whole.
Yeah.
But so I'm also going back to the point of we need to get back to the point of compassion, because at the end
Yes.
of the day people are dying,
Yeah.
and whether it is for your own gain or whatever, I do feel that then we could have at least said let's have it somewhere else. That's
Yeah.
not such an issue, because at the end
Yeah.
of the day, yes, everybody wants to be rich, everybody wants a crown, everybody, but what form of compassion is this? Let's be honest, what is this adding to the whole issue? It's not giving anything.
It's not, you know, Vanj, you make such a great point. This right here does nothing. I feel like now they've created their own conflict and it gives
does
nothing
nothing.
to the issue whatsoever. So again, I personally hope from this whole matter that something good can come out of it. But right now, as it stands, hey,
I just want to just add another comment there, and then I'm just going to leave it there because I might be crucified for that comment too. Had it been held in a different country, would it have changed matters?
No, but it's the point is it wouldn't have been something that's the hard-hitting thing about so many lives being lost, because the other issue that they're saying is we're drawing tourists to the country now.
Okay.
That's another issue. The fact that it's not only the whole pageant itself, it's that, remember, they need to fill a whole auditorium and with people from all around the world.
Okay.
So now you're
So it's fueling
making
the
it
economy.
fueling the economy and making the economy a tourist attraction.
Okay.
The country.
I
I'd
rest
like
my
to
case.
know if this event were held in Palestine, what might have been the issue there? Would there have been any issue at all? So I feel like Miss Universe itself needs to get to a point where they say, okay, when we're gonna host this thing in a country, are we taking it to the country to what are our intentions for choosing the country where the thing is held? And you're raising a very valid point. So I hope that this will be a big lesson to the whole institution itself. But right now, I think I'm sad that people or that countries are pulling out, because by removing yourself from the hot button issue, you are no longer in a position to change or influence it for good. And that's where I feel like boycotting might not have been as effective as perhaps going and expressing your heart for the issue and for the conflict and for the human rights of others.
I understand that, but once you're in pageants, I'm telling you honestly, once they're in there, they're
Is
not
that too
speaking.
kumbaya?
It's too kumbaya. They're not speaking about social issues and how we can help the world for real. I'm just gonna be honest. They're not doing that.
Finally, some
Guys,
honesty.
just drop that mic, yo.
So
Mic dropped.
I'm literally at the 50-50. I'm not going against this girl, but I do also understand the other side
Yes.
of the whole war thing. Why didn't we just make it somewhere else? Or what were you doing the whole time virtual? Because that's the other thing. We're not allowed to even have a party here in South Africa, but we're allowed to travel to go there. Anyway.
Clap.
So-
Say it louder.
So, just a quick, based on after this, there's the whole issue. I don't know, do we have time? 5 minutes. Okay, should we just do a quick closing? So, people have been, should we do it?
Let's keep it for next time.
Okay, we'll keep it for next time.
Okay.
Let's just do a lovely leave it over there because...
It is a beautiful topic, but I think that we won't do it justice within 5 minutes.
Yes, because I don't want it to
Yeah.
sound like it's racist.
Yeah. And it might come across as that, so we need to
We don't wanna rush
we need
it.
to expand on it, yeah.
So, thank you so much for joining us today. Jess, do you want to say anything just to round it off? Say your goodbyes, enjoy your week, whatever.
So for today from me, all I'm saying is keep your life balanced. A good side hustle is really, really good, but keep your life balanced in all spheres. Cheers.
What do I say after that? All I will say is whichever platform you are given to speak, use it responsibly and use it for the good rather than the other side of things. Amen.
Amen. And me also ending that off saying, I'm an advocate for if there is also something going on in your lives, don't make your life look perfect. I'm a big advocate, if you go on my Instagram, if I have bad days, I post that bad day, because never leave somebody with the impression that things are always dandy, living life in flowers, because that person might think that there's something wrong with their life. So show the good, show the ugly, but when you show the ugly, also say how you got out of the ugly. And the way I do it is when I'm feeling down, I leave a quote with something inspiring, but that quote is actually meant for me. So try that out. So
And before we go, I just want to say sorry that we didn't get through to the comments today. However, if you still do have a comment, drop it in the comment section and we'll get back to you.
thank you so much, and hope to see you next week again. Thank you so much. Love you lots. Bye.
In the shadows, as I look upon my life, in the shadows, there's a passion inside. Heaven knows I'm living my dreams. As I look upon my life.